All right, today we're going to get into the types of homes that you should never buy. There's some homes that always have big red flags that will likely be money pits, bad investments, and keep you up at night and cause you to look 10 years older than you naturally are. So let's get into this video. If you enjoy this kind of content, please do like and subscribe. And without further ado, here are some homes that you should never buy. All right, so the first type of home that you should never buy are very old homes. If it looks like the Amityville house, Salem's Lot, the house in Psycho, do not buy these houses. A lot of these homes were built with the best technology from 100 years ago. We're talking knob and tube wiring, balloon framing, poor windows, just construction standards that are not up to today's standards, plaster walls, maybe they contain asbestos, or maybe there's a bat infestation in the attic, who knows. A lot of people really like character homes because they are quite beautiful. They have architectural features that are just simply not done today. And a lot of people find out once they get into these houses, they have a little bit too much character. You know, it starts with a little bit of asbestos remediation on the boiler system, leaky radiator pipes throughout, cast iron plumbing, galvanized plumbing that is prone to leaking. And electrical is always an issue if you want to upgrade it or bring in more modern amenities into a home. That's destructive for the walls. The layouts generally don't work for modern family living. It can be a real pain to renovate these. Renovations tend to be more expensive, and the people who are skilled at restoring these homes are few and far between. And a lot of these homes that have heritage designations, there's certain restrictions that the city will have for improvements that you can do on the outside, including types of material for shingles. I mean, believe me, you do not want to have to reshingle your roof with slate or cedar. So a lot of these things to take into consideration if you are considering a character home. So if it was me, I would definitely avoid an old character home unless you are absolutely committed to burning all the money that's left in your bank account. Another type of home that I would never buy are homes where there's clearly environmental concerns both on the interior and the exterior of the home. So that would be a home that's really close to, say, an industrial district that's, you know, polluting, a lot of particulate matter in the air. Anything that's close to factories, anything that's close to power plants, anything that's close to power lines, you know, wastewater treatment plants. This kind of stuff is a huge turnoff to potential future home buyers, and that's stuff that isn't going to get moved. And this includes homes that are close to flooding areas as well. A lot of people want to be close to water, completely understandable. Definitely check and see if there's ever been flooding in the area. If there's flooding in the past, it's highly likely that there will be flooding in the future. And you know, it can be difficult to get insurance, or insurance costs can be quite high, or you may have to go into a high-risk insurance product, which is never fun. That can eat up your monthly budget. Things that are close to a garbage dump too. So when you're looking at a home, you know, always a good idea to do a Google Earth satellite view, see what's around in the area. And if you get out of your car and it smells like a garbage dump is nearby, probably there's a garbage dump nearby. Now, in terms of internal environmental issues of a home, typically you want to avoid homes that are laden with asbestos. Asbestos remediation is quite difficult. So that's kind of one of the #1 environmental hazards in home. Homes in areas where there's prone to radon leaking, and homes that have had any kind of oil heating on them that has been upgraded. Oil heating tanks, if they've leaked, the ground can be contaminated as well. So these are all things to look after, which kind of ties back into the first one. A lot of these old character homes use these kind of materials in the past. Definitely something to avoid environmental hazards both in the surrounding area and in the interior of the home itself. Third type of home that I would never buy is a flip. A flip versus a renovation. How can you tell the difference? A lot of times the flips, when you look at who the seller is, it's actually a numbered company. So this is probably folks who are doing this on the regular. Telltale signs in my market are like everything is gray. Gray floors, gray cabinets, gray door pulls, Secret Service interrogation lights, bright fluorescent everywhere in the entire house. Usually weird pot lights everywhere. Cheap vinyl everything. You know, these flips are usually done quite quickly and the quality is usually very poor and you can feel it. The finishings are cheap, the trim is cheap, the paint is cheap. These are homes that I would definitely avoid because you never know what was done, what was covered up. Maybe to fit that new bathroom in, there was some stuff done structurally that wasn't quite up to snuff. You know, maybe the deck was built really quickly. It's a little shifty. So I would avoid flips at all costs. Now this is different than an actual renovation. Typically a renovation is done by a homeowner who was living there. It was done for their needs. Generally higher quality finishes, a little bit more design forward. You can really see the quality of the work, and people can feel it too. Avoid flips done by numbered companies, and renovations by a homeowner win by a mile. Another kind of home that I would never buy is a home that's been radically over improved for the price point in the neighborhood, or is completely unique kind of architecturally for the neighborhood. These are the kind of homes that you walk into. Let's say the average price is $650,000 and you walk in and there's a $50,000 rare stone countertop, over the top customization in terms of trim and finishings, extremely expensive everything. It's very unlikely once you purchase that home, typically you'll be buying that at a premium to be able to recoup your investment on that. And this is a warning for folks who are considering renovations too. Just because we put in golden toilets, it's not like HGTV where there's a star wipe and all of a sudden your home is worth $250,000 more. Do consult with a professional before taking on any major real estate renovation. An over improved home is something that, it can be really appealing, but if you ever tire of those styles, if you ever tire of what's been done, it can be not cost effective to rip all that out and then redo it for something at a lesser value, and there may not be other people out there willing to pay the premium for those things. Now, tying into this is the homes that are architecturally unique in the neighborhood. Let's say you live in an older neighborhood and there's an infill custom home that is stylistically very, very jarring. This is like someone who builds like a ranch bungalow in a neighborhood where it's all Victorian homes. Usually quite an eyesore. It stands out. It can be very difficult once you purchase a home like this to exit from the property. The only time I would consider this is if for some reason you had to be in this neighborhood and this house suited your needs exactly and you don't care if you make any money on it at all. Another type of home I would never buy are homes that have been radically altered from their original layout. Things like student rentals, boarding houses, rooming houses, houses that were meant to be single family homes but were poorly converted into multifamily homes, where it's clear that there is nothing about the original layout that remains at all. Typically the flow of these homes is really bizarre or strange. You have, backwards toilets, sinks, kitchens in weird places, an electrical panel by a fireplace, just things that are really bizarre and jarring. They may seem like a great deal in the neighborhood, but typically to bring them back to a single family home, it requires extensive amount of investment in capital, and usually it's not something that you'll be able to recoup. This is different from someone who's decided to say, hey, you know what? I'm going to convert my house into a duplex. I'm going to put up one piece of drywall where the second floor staircase goes. That's not the same as completely carving up a home into as many rooms as you can fit to maximize rents. So I would avoid a radically altered home from the original layout at all costs. The last type of home that I would never buy is homes on busy streets or in so-called up and coming areas. It's really important when you buy a home to say, okay, if this doesn't change at all, if the neighborhood doesn't change at all, if the street is always busy forever, am I okay with it? These are homes that are typically much more difficult to sell, and as I've said before in many videos, nobody can predict the future. When you move into a neighborhood, if there's high rates of petty theft, high rates of crime, it's not in the school district that you like, the city has neglected it for years, it's unlikely to improve. It doesn't matter if there's one coffee shop on the corner, that could be gone tomorrow, they could go out of business. Buy a neighborhood that you're comfortable in and that suits you and your needs. Betting on future improvements or amenities coming in is never a wise bet, and busy streets are always busy. If anything, those busy streets will get busier. These are like transit corridors, multi-forms of transportation on it. Generally, parking can be a nightmare, and it seems like great to be maybe on one of these streets if you're close to the amenities that you want. Being woken up at 1 a.m. constantly by fire trucks, police cars, and ambulances isn't all that pleasant. So I would never buy a house on a busy street or a home in a neighborhood based on some hypothetical future improvement. All right, thanks again for watching. As you know, our home market is the greater Hamilton area. Myself and my team, we cover Niagara all the way to Halton. If you are looking for agents in other markets, whether you are looking in Vancouver or all the way to Newfoundland, we can connect you with great agents in your market. So any questions about other markets, let us know and we'll be sure to put you in touch with one of our trusted referral partners.